And welcome to episode 536 of the GodIsAGeek.com podcast. My name's Adam Cook, your host, and I'm joined this week by the amazing Chris Hyde. Hello, Chris.
Hello, mate. Hello, you all right?
Yeah, I'm amazing, Chris. I'm amazing. And do you know who else is amazing? It's Chris White. You're amazing. Hello, Chris.
Thanks, mate. I feel like I'm more spectacular, but I'll take amazing.
Oh, come on. Come on, Chris.
My knowledge isn't good enough. I was going to ask if you were miles from home or whatever it was called, or far from home. Because this is like a homecoming for you, Chris. If you weren't if you weren't here last week, obviously, then it would have been more of a... would have been more of a homecoming. Spider-Man.
You tried your hardest.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? If I saw the title of this podcast this week and saw like podcast number, and it was like Marvel Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros, Lords of the Fallen, I'd be like, God damn it, games are good. And they are. So we may as well just start with said games. Chris, you have platinumed, I believe, Marvel Spider-Man 2. I have not. I have finished it. I don't know if I'll platinum it. Oh, does that mean it's bad? No, it doesn't. It just means it's I don't know. Like you platinumed it before. I think I had started it, but you platinumed it like quick, didn't you?
Yeah, it took a hold of me quite a lot. It's not a long platinum. It's a substantial game. Like it's what games should. The perfect game size for me. About 32 hours in total.
For the plat.
But the game itself is just it is amazing.
Yeah,
it is. And there's very little wrong with it. And I don't want to pick faults with it because it's a great game to play for fans of the original, for fans of PlayStation, fans of the genre. Like, it does everything you want it to do and more. Obviously, there are things for fans of Spider-Man, but you don't need to be like a massive nerd to understand like all the unlocks, all the cameos, because they're going to be cameos. And what really kind of struck home was the way that they've managed to give time for both Spider-Men.
Yes,
like.
Spider-Man sounds weird, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't
it? They say that in the game, though. There's quite a lot of times where they'll say things like, thanks to the Spider-Men. It does sound weird. It is, and it is kind of weird because, like, I don't know about. I mean, Chris, this is going to get confusing as usual, but Chris White has you've got much broader knowledge of the sort of Spider-Verse than I have. But like, I sort of suspected with like Miles Morales getting his own game, that they would sort of be handing the torch slowly but surely. But I think, I mean, whether it's intentionally or not, I think I spent more of the game as Peter. Now, I know you can switch on the fly, but I mean, doing the story missions, there are certain missions that are like these off. So what are they called? Is it EMF?
EMF experiments.
Yeah, they're the ones that are like Peter Parker side missions only. And Miles has like Prowler and... do we want to say the other one? No. He's got some missions that are also just for him. We don't need to say what they are. Let people discover them, because they do come in. Like the previous games, you think to yourself, oh, I can mop up all these collectibles and all these missions quite quickly, and then you realise there's quite a lot that you haven't even unlocked yet. And
yeah.
I think it's like for years, like however long Spider-Man's been a part of popular culture and Marvel comics, you're talking 50, 60, almost 70 years. It's a long time. Someone's probably going to go, actually, it's 49 years since Spider-Man debuted in Amazing Spider-Man.
That is how they sound as well.
That is, yeah. But like, Peter Parker's been the Spider-Man. Like, he has been the one everyone knows. And these characters all featured originally in his stories. Like, Craven was a massive part of Peter Parker. Like, there's a lot of comic arcs featuring Craven that are excellent.
But am I right in thinking this version of Craven is quite different? Because when I was talking to weird throwback, but when we were driving back from playing the first time we played Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Sean hadn't really looked. He's like a big fan of Spider-Man 2, and he hadn't looked into it much. And he mentioned like, who's the villain for this game? And as I said to you guys before we started recording, I hadn't watched too much in terms of the trailers, but I knew it was Craven because they had that big trailer that started off with Craven. And he said to me, that's interesting because his character arc in the comics or maybe other media, he says he's not always like a bad guy, like the bad guy. Like, is that right? Is this a different version?
No,
of
he's
Kraven?
right. He's right because Kraven's always a bit of an anti-hero, and he's
Right.
not a straightforward villain. Because I think I say it in the review, Kraven has a certain amount of respect for Spider-Man because he respects his prey. Because he is a predator, he thrives on the hunt. So it's all about defeating the prey, and he respects Spider-Man because he gives him a challenge. So he has always kind of been a bit of like an anti-hero, someone that people respect. He doesn't necessarily hate there's not a lot of, it's not always personal. It's more just a challenge.
He's not what I would call, well, not in this game, I would say maybe it's a bit different, but from what I understand, he's not what you would consider evil.
No,
as
but
such.
I think what they do is make him a definite threat. Do you know what I mean? Like, he feels like a villain. He feels like a bad man.
Because I do want to say, like, and you can speak to this better than I can, but I do want to say, from what I played of it, was I completed the story. I thought this game's really quite well written.
Very well written.
And I don't know why I say that. I mean, maybe people will hear the inflection in my voice there that it's almost a bit surprised. And I don't know that I'm being fair, because, I mean, now we've had, like, the Batman Arkham games. I think they are great stories. Like that, I think of Arkham Knight, and I think of, like, full-on jump scare moments and story twists that got me. And I'll say this about Marvel Spider-Man 2 story. I never 100% felt I knew exactly where it was heading, even with the knowledge of, like, like you've just talked about Kraven. With all the knowledge of the characters, and we are trying to sort of avoid spoiling too much, I think that's fair to say. I never really 100% knew where it was going fully. I mean, you it's a comic book story, isn't it? So you kind of, it's good versus evil. But, like, I do think it twists and turns a little bit on the way to get there, and I don't know if that's me as lacking the knowledge, or how you feel about it as someone who knows the arcs.
No, because the thing is, Insomniac have created their own Spider-Man story. Like, they've obviously taken stuff from the comics. No, but I think that's why it's so appealing to everybody, personally. Like, there are going to be people that go, oh, that's from this and that's from this, but, like, you can appreciate it as its own thing. You know, not a lot of people know about Miles Morales, and I think only really was the animations that has broadened his appeal to more than just the comic book.
Who's your favourite Spider-Man?
It's Peter, but that's just
because... Okay.
Yeah, but that's just because I
kind of was there, but I think it might be Miles now. I'm talking about games, specifically the games.
Yeah.
As you said, it's their own. I went into it thinking, same as yourself, like, it's Peter's my favourite, his story, blah blah blah, and like, will they be almost not edging him out, but, you know, people want to do their own thing, but I came away from this like, Miles is just awesome.
Oh,
and also, my God, is he good looking? Like, in this, I mean, I know it's a computer game, but, like, he is, like, by miles, like, the best looking character in this entire game. He is, like, they have made him he's enough to turn you, quite honestly. I mean,
I never think we'd be talking about his sex appeal, to be honest. He's at college, mate.
Oh yeah, forgot about that. That won't make the edit. How old? But I don't actually know how old he's supposed to be in the game.
He's applying for university, isn't he?
So what does that mean for Americans?
Well, I'm assuming it's similar.
I don't know.
I think it's quite similar, to be honest.
That's fine then. He's 21 or something. That's fine.
Yeah, why not?
42. I get it.
Yeah, so he is. Well, he's old enough to
know better.
Yeah. But anyway, Miles Morales' story, I feel, is more personal, but it's more about him growing up and kind of tiptoeing around relationships and family life and trying to balance it, more like what Peter did in the beginning, where Peter, and this isn't a spoiler, it's very clear from the other games, he's at the tail end of being Peter Parker. You know, in the first game, he's a lot older than he was when he first became Spider-Man. So he's had years of experience as Spider-Man, whereas Miles is just kind of coming into it. And it's about dealing with balancing life and being Spider-Man, but it's also about the loss of his dad and trying to kind of get rid of that kind of hate he's got for Mr. Negative, who killed him, which is in the previous games, if you've never played them.
Sorry.
So, yes, deal with it. So, I think the story, anyway, so without ruining anything, the story, I think, is really well put together. I think it is Peter Parker's story, because it's all about Harry, which it kind of, at the end of the previous two, both even Miles Morales and the original, it was about Harry being sick, which we assume is something like, cancer.
It's cancer, isn't it?
Terminal.
I don't know that they ever spell it out, but I mean,
no, they don't.
It's certainly, because there's even like a chemotherapy style drip sort of thing.
So it's about him being better. Why is he better? What's going on? How has he managed to become better? Being that, you know. Yeah,
you can get that bit. You can guess,
but the way it balances everything, like we've seen films do it. I know there's a lot longer in a game to be able to balance the story and make no character throwaway, but there's still a skill in doing that in a game. Like the story, you could probably mainline it in like under 15 hours, I would say. But just
to be clear, that was the same as the other games.
Yeah.
I know people are going to have a go for that, and they're going to go, oh, yeah, but you can complete it in this. The other ones you could too. So I have no issue with that whatsoever.
Is that a criticism or whatever?
Well, not from us, no. But, I don't know, I just think there's a lot of clever shit in this game. I was thinking of moments that I don't want to spoil, and then I was thinking, that feels like a lifetime ago. This will mean nothing to anyone else, because if you haven't played it. But Chris White, if I were to say to you Carnival, right, that feels like games ago. And I think that's a mark of how well the story goes through. And also, you talked about cameos and stuff. There's a sort of, I guess it's optional, Peter Parker story. You can, and I'm not going to say much about this because again. Sorry, I know it's weird talking about this game when you don't want to spoil it, but there's this optional, in fact there's several for all of them, but there's one with Peter Parker that relates to other stuff in the future of the Spider-Man universe that genuinely I did not see coming, and that may be because I don't have this deep knowledge, but when a certain name is
wet my britches.
Yes, I was like, oh my God, I know what that is, and I know who you're talking about, and holy shit, did I not see that coming, but boy, does it make so much sense. There's a lot of that, and listen, there are bits as well, there are people like me who have to, maybe look stuff up or ask, there are, and I think that's the same as the other game, I remember the end of the first game on Miles, where they do a post-credits thing, it's Marvel, and I think a lot of people you guys would probably see that and go, oh, that's whatever. Whereas there was one bit for me in this where I was like, I might have to look that up. And when I did, I was like, oh, fucking hell, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. But we should also talk about some gameplay, maybe.
I was going to ask, right? Because obviously the big thing I want to know, because there's been 2 of these games technically.
Yes.
Even though this is 2, and obviously from what you guys have been saying, a lot of the story is one of the reasons to come back a third time, and it feels fresh and new and exciting.
Yeah.
What other aspects can you kind of look forward to that make it feel like its own game? Because there's a danger with some of this that it just, for want of a better word, is just swinging around, beating up people.
No, because I mean the one word I would say, if you're asking that question, let's try it. Me and Chris, we can both say one word. And I wonder if we'll say the same word. That for me, on 3 then, ready? So 1, 2, 3, and then on the 3. 1, 2, 3, traversal.
Pancakes.
Fair enough.
Has it got to do? Does it have to do a Spider-Man shit?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I just think.
No, I know. I know it.
The spider. What? Oh, shit! I can't remember what they call
it. Web wings.
Web wings, right? I know
Jesus Christ.
You see it,
web
and you're
wings.
sure. I'm sure that'd be good. But when you actually play it,
I was like, oh.
Yeah, same. It's that doesn't. That seems. They actually got the swinging right.
It's so damn useful, and it's it's not like you're always using them, because the city is so well designed that you can't use it all the time. But they're like the wind tunnels that they've got work really well around the city, and going across the water, the vents that blow into the air, really really well used in both just traveling around and also in some of the story missions.
Yep.
there's also a load of new skills that you can use for traversal and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well,
which
it's just skill. I do want to talk about skills, but some of them are a bit spoilery, I guess, as well.
Yeah, probably not.
Because like you might remember this, either one of you, but I remember, like your web gadgets. I know Chris Hyde, you haven't played 2, but Chris White, I want to say they changed how you activate them, and it's a bit more intuitive, and it all makes like you can actually ping round them.
I think it's fair to say, because that's from the start you can use you. So
but didn't you have to like use some sort of weapon wheel before?
Yeah, yes. I think this is just so much like you've got you learn so much constantly, and there's even more stuff later on that you've got to kind of get used to. But really, all it does is boil down to two simple button mechanics. L1, which brings up 4 skills, and you can use any one at any time as long as you've built up the kind of, they all like empty, like they're kind of like small icons that all empty out once you use one, and then you can refill it up by fighting more. And there are other ways to get them, but there's 4 skills for Parker, 4 for which all focus around like the metal legs, like the ones he uses in like,
and they're also kind of all
Iron Spider,
similar. Like if you press L1 and cross, as Peter, he's got one that kind of lifts the enemies, and that's got a different power and animation.
Miles uses his venom, the electricity, to lift them with electricity.
So they correlate, so you're not having to try and remember 2 like completely different skill sets, but they all
do the same thing. Still. So like circle, like more of an area of destruction. Triangle is like, I think that's like a dash kind of thing. But then they each learn more. Both of them learn more based around the L1. Obviously, the Venom symbiote that was in the gameplay that they released. That's a full. You've seen them do that, so he uses that for the Venom abilities that he'll learn somehow. And then the R1 does exactly the same. Brings up the 4 different buttons, except it's your gadgets. So you can then level them up to make them more kind of fire more of them, or make them more powerful, or whatever. And then you can upgrade your suit. And this again is before this background. We can't really cover anything past a certain mission, so I'm not ruining anything past a certain mission. That's why I'm talking about it. I don't want people think I'm ruining anything. But like the suit upgrades, you can upgrade traversal, power, health, that kind of thing. Then you've got all the suit unlocks, which
that's new,
delve
right?
Straight into the fucking lore of Spider-Man. It's insane. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, the suit stuff's crazy. Like that actually was like almost overawing for me. I was looking at that going like, this is a lot. Like
and you do feel like you're learning too much, but then like with the other one, when you're in it, and you're not playing anything else, because I was doing guides for Assassin's Creed, so like I go over to that and I'd be like, fuck, and then I go back to Spider-Man, I've forgotten. But like there's so much, and then within that there's all like the skills that you can perform while swinging and fighting, like lifting people in the air, which return, swinging, kicking them, firing webs to stick them to a wall. Then you've got the different enemies that require different kind of moves to take them down, and then you've got stealth on top of that, which the new stealth thing, which is amazing, is where you can fire the web. You can fire your own web, stick it to a wall, run over it. So you can kind of plan out your takedowns rather than having just to be on top of a perch or be on top of a wall.
The thing is, right, I would, if you go back in time to Batman Arkham Asylum, that was the first one, I had to think then. And I think people were blown away by that game and what it did for the kind of superhero game genre. But also, like, that combat system then became... In a way, like Gears of War's Active Reload got copied. Like the combat system of Arkham Asylum got copied ad nauseum. Like, I always think back to the Middle Earth game. Like that combat is, I know it's Warner Brothers as well, but that combat is Arkham Asylum. It is based in Arkham Asylum. And even at the beginning of Marvel's Spider-Man, that combat was based on Arkham Asylum. But this is now the bar for me in terms of that. The locomotion in this game is unreal. Like that, it makes you feel like do you know those people who like post gifs of them doing like FromSoft games or like Devil May Cry doing these ridiculous combos, and you're like, oh my god, they've made this look like a different game. That's what this game does for you. You're playing it and you're like, I can't believe I'm doing this. But it's not just the locomotion, it's the locomotion plus the combat, the intuitiveness. It's everything combined that, and I don't think even Insomniac would sit there and go, oh no, this is all our own doing. What do you mean? Arkham, sorry, what? Bat, no. Man Bat, no, I don't, no, never heard of it. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't, but what they've done, especially with this one, because the other thing I love, because it's a pet hate of mine when games don't do this, you're playing a sequel and, oh no, I've lost all my powers and I've got to learn them all again and god damn it now. Oh, I know.
Samus.
Yeah, kind of that. Like, there are some games get away with it because it's part of the games, but when a game does that and it is like a direct sequel like these are, I love that you start this game, for example, as Miles, and he's got his Venom powers. He can do electric-y stuff because it's a continuation. So rather than them sort of cheating you as the player and going like, oh yeah, fine, right, I'll upgrade and unlock everything again. No, what they've done is you've got all that. So here's a whole fresh new load of ideas for that. Like here's how we're gonna do. Because I remember saying ages ago that my concern about this is like, you did New York, then you did New York again, and you sort of pseudo sequel, and you got away with it, so to speak. How'd you get away with it a third time? Well, that's how. Because they have not taken the piss out of the game player. They have given them everything they already had and then gone, here's an entirely new moveset. And on that note, like, I actually think with Queens and Brooklyn, I think it's a really smart addition. Because while you are going around New York that was in the original games, and it's familiar enough. I mean, listen, I don't have a photographic memory, but I'm flying around loads of skyscrapers. All of Brooklyn and that sort of, so those two subsections now feel quite unique and new and different to what you've played. And I don't think it's it's really hard to complain about much in this game, man. Like, it really is. There's a few of the reason I haven't platinumed it is because a few of the side quests. I don't know how this worked for you, Chris, but a few of the trophies, I feel like if I'd have done them a bit earlier on, if I'd had a look and done them earlier, I'd be fine. But now some of them, because I've obviously got a completed save, are a little bit harder to do because I haven't got so many of the certain things around. And there's a couple of those that are a bit, they're all right, but most of them I quite like. Like the Prowler stuff, I really, really enjoyed that. There's just not a lot to complain about in this game.
No, and there's like a few more things just before we wrap it up on Spider-Man. There's like, if you're looking at like the FNSM requests,
yes,
friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's like, so there's some of them which, like, well, one in particular that, like,
I know the one.
Yeah, and I've talked about it to you in chat, but like, it's so
I might have missed that had you not told me to look out for it.
Yeah, exactly. There's like the side mission is so well put together, like their own game. Like they're no fetch quests or any like bollocks like that. There's real like effort put into the storytelling.
Do you find they've added to stuff as well? Like, do you know the random crimes? Like, so you still do them. I didn't do an awful lot of them this time because I just didn't feel like there was so much else to do. But with the random crimes, sometimes you'll save someone, and that would be it, wouldn't it? Like, you remember from the first game. In this one, now it's like, also take them to an ambulance, pick them up, swing them across the city, and take them to a hospital. So they've like kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say made it more realistic, but rather than you just saving them and going like, bye-bye, you're like,
leaving this person like nearly dead and beaten on the floor.
Yeah, it just makes for a more, I don't want to say well realised because it's a fantasy world, isn't it? But
no, I know what you're trying to say. They've just added to make it flesh it out a bit more than just go here, beat these up, whatever. There's 100%. There's a lot of moments in this game which like will stick with me. There are two in particular which will. I'd be surprised if they don't either make the list or reach the top 10 or top 5 because, oh my god, they've really gone to town on some of these missions. Like, even there's a mission that I played which I was like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, this is one of the best things I've ever seen in a game. And then some story points which fucking wasn't expecting. So they've really, really put a lot of effort into that. And it manages to do what Spider-Man's always been about, but do it really well. And that's like flawed characters, both on the side of good and evil, and how to balance that power and be responsible with it. That's what Uncle Ben always said, but it's true. And like,
I thought you made
the
rice.
villains are flawed. They're not all evil bad guys. Like they do what they do for people they love. I've not heard what you said, so that's why I'm still deep in this. Like,
you carry on,
mate.
You finish your bit,
yeah, please.
Yeah, and it's right from the start. Like these characters that we know from the comics, they've such a backbone to them. They're not just two-dimensional. They're literally so integral to the overall story of what Spider-Man is, and it's just different that Peter and Miles have harnessed it differently. And they struggle at times, but it's just a really well put together game, and Insomniac have done a great job of it.
It's remarkably human, a lot of it. Like, I know that sounds like a weird thing to say because they're superheroes, but it's remarkably human. Yeah, I really, really do like the game. The more I think about it, the more I think about some of the cameos that, like, I think there's one cameo that's like such a brief one, and it wasn't even, I didn't even twig until I was like, wait a minute. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's a good video game. My only concern is the same one that I ended Miles Morales with, is that how do they do this again? Because there's definitely going to be another game. Like, they haven't announced Marvel Spider-Man 3, but I'm going to guess this will sell quite well.
The thing is, right, I don't know, it's not going to be for years, but
True.
We've got Wolverine coming.
Wolverine, yeah.
And these guys are in charge of Wolverine.
Jesus Christ, don't.
There should be no doubt in anyone's mind that game is fucking super.
To be honest, like, Wolverine, what was the game? There was a pretty decent Wolverine game, Xbox 360 era. Like, not like as good as this, but there was a decent. Like, I really can't wait to, because do you think they'll go a bit more, like, mature?
Yeah. You can't not.
No, I think you're right.
Because there's some real deep stories.
With correspondence touching on that later, so we can get into it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Just so we don't, do things out of order.
Yeah,
and just for Chris's benefit, because I did interrupt him, and he was right to ignore me. It was a joke about Uncle Ben's rice.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was all right. Like, no, it wasn't that good. It was. I shouldn't. It was. You were talking emotionally, and it was like, nah, I shouldn't have done it.
He was like, he makes rice, did he?
Yeah, it was like, it was really kind of. He's had 5 pints on the pub, but he should have just shut his mouth. Yeah. He's rabbiting too much. Marvel Spider-Man 2 not out yet. 20th of October. Gonna be some tough choices that day, because on the same day as Marvel Spider-Man 2. Super Mario Bros. Wonder comes out, the first new 2D Super Mario, blimey, in a while, which I have played through for review, and you can watch the video review of that and of Spider-Man 2 on this very channel if you're watching the video, and if not, go to godasageek.com and you can read the reviews of both of those games, one by Chris White and one by myself. Super Mario Bros. Wonder is a really difficult game to talk about, because ultimately it is a 2D platformer, and
thanks for coming.
Yeah, it is not going to make you like Spider-Man 2. If you didn't like them before, Miles Morales and Marvel Spider-Man, you're not going to suddenly like Marvel Spider-Man 2. It's not going to change your mind. It's for people who like those games. But Super Mario Bros. Wonder feels to me like a sort of soft reboot for the series. Like, in terms of, they've changed the art, the voice actors. Like, it's a very musical game. This is the thing I've not seen a lot of talk about. And I don't know, Chris, I know you've only played a little bit of it, but did you notice that when you do the butt smash, it does like a snare rumble, snare drum, and then when you hit the ground, and it's perfectly timed. It's deliberate. This isn't an accidental thing. When you're doing the downward part of it, it's doing a snare roll, and then when you hit the ground, it's a cymbal crash. It's a very musical game.
It is a very musical game. Like, even like there's, like I said, I've only played the first 4 levels, right? But let's assume extrapolation. But like, even on those levels, right?
Yes.
You've got the musical blocks. On the second level, I won't ruin what the like Wonder Seed stuff is, but like, that's incredibly musical and cool, and it's just like you'll talk about it in more detail. But yeah, it is a very, I think, quite intentionally musical, colourful, happy. I mean, happy and joyful is what Nintendo do with Mario, right? But they very are leaning into the, like you say, the intentionally sort of, I can't think of a better word than musical, but like you say, like everything It's not just the normal Mario sounds.
No.
And
No,
I'm okay
everything's
with
analog.
that.
Everything's analog. Have you noticed
Yeah.
that? So, like,
Yeah.
when you jump, I don't need to make the noise. Both you and Chris can hear the Mario jumping noise, and anyone listening can hear it. But they've replaced everything. This is a new. Everything's new. And what they've replaced it with is the same noise, but it's played like on a nylon guitar, acoustic, like dude. It's played like that. And it's all that. It's all very analog.
Everything like even like the opening sequence and stuff. It's just there's just an intention. I think, like you say, it's a little bit of a soft reboot. This isn't new Super Mario Brothers U4 or whatever, right? This is different. This very much feels like, you know, not because the old ones were crap, but it's I guess a point in time, you know, with the Mario Brothers movie and everything else. It's a point in time for them to go, do you know what? This is going to be what Mario's going to be from now on. And you can even like the opening, you know, there's always some opening disaster. I'm not spoiling anything by saying, you know, Bowser rocks up and, you know, pisses on someone's parade.
Bowser's in this game.
Yeah. Oh my god. Right. But like, you know, it's like even just the animations of like Mario's facial animations, Peach's, Luigi's, like
the animations are unreal in this game.
They're all different, but they all look like their characters. I haven't just gone fuck it, gone emo or something. But like they're all like they're just a little bit more stylized, and they're having a little bit.
Well, everything's
fun.
You could almost argue it's been over animated. Like I keep using this example, but Mario goes through a sideways pipe, and as he goes through, his hat stays behind, and then so his arm comes back out the pipe and pulls his hat through.
And there's is it Trunky officially, or like the elephant?
No,
Mario?
it's just elephant
Elephant Mario. Let's call him Trunky. Fuck it, that's my name for him. Like when he tries to go through a pipe and his ass gets stuck, and then like it's just stuff like that just does not need to be, and it could just be burp 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 like it used to be, right? And it's not. It's just extra bits like that, extra little sort of like flourishes that are like, it's like they've gone, what fun can we have with this? That just. I think that's the vibe I'm getting just from 4 levels in. What fun can we have with a 2D Mario? And I've only seen 4 different examples of what fun looks like so far. And you know, we said this. Well, you guys said it about Odyssey because I wasn't allowed on the podcast at such a time. But Wonder is an incredibly sensible name for this as a sub name for this game. Yeah. In the same way that I guess Odyssey was as well. Like that is, you know, that is what I'm feeling, and I'm happiness, joy, there are other good words as well. But Wonder's a really great name for this. I'm only 4 in, but you've finished it. But
I've 100%ed it, mate. I've finished it and then some.
And you don't, with the greatest respect, you don't normally do that to games unless.
No, but do you know who has been getting me doing that a lot recently is Nintendo, because I did it with Pikmin 4. Like there's something about the way they've changed their design for games for like the Switch era that I've been doing it a lot more with their games. I do it with some games, like I would if I was not, you know, recovering games. I probably would do it with Spider-Man 2. Because I just like being in that world and existing and flying around, and the combat, like, it never gets boring.
I'm almost certain, given what you've said about, just to go back to Spider, I'm almost certain I'll do it with Spider.
You definitely will, and I probably will when I'm honest.
I find games like that, like you said it a minute ago, Chris, like games where you complete them and then the platinum is, you feel like achievable.
It's attainable.
It's not like, oh fuck, I've got to play it 3 more times on multiple difficulties, and so I was like, fuck that. Whenever a game does that, I'm like, I'm not getting the platinum.
Yeah,
like, I'm not this day and age. But games where they're like, just do this, and this, and I'm like, oh, I'm quite a way there in some of that. And I feel like with Wonder, with like the 100% completionist stuff, I mean, I'm a nightmare for that anyway.
No, but it is a similar thing.
It's like you're like, go and replay that level.
Yeah, go on, do it one more time.
Like, fine, I will, because it's such a good time in it.
Yes.
And like I said, it's hard because I'm 4 levels in, but I get a sense of what they're going for, you know. And I think I forget when you said it, and I don't want to steal all of your one-liners, but fuck it, you know, you let me start talking now. Like it's like it's a 2D Odyssey in the sense that they do have the Wonder Flower. Is it?
It's a Wonder Flower. Yeah,
Wonder Flower is the name of it. You literally have one in every level. I've had one in every level so
far.
Yeah,
there's one in every level.
Yeah. How collect that, and the level just changes, and in the first one of them it's just like pipes start moving, but it means you can go and you can jump to areas you couldn't get to before, and there's music playing and there's effects and stuff, and it's all cool. In like another area, like invincibility stars just start raining down for a period of time. So you just keep collecting them. You're constantly invincible. You can kill all the enemies and get rid of loads of blocks and stuff. And it's just, and they're two very basic ideas. Other ones, I'm sure, change the level up in completely different ways. And it's just one idea for one level, and it's gone. But it's cool and it's interesting, but then it's gone. And then you play another level, and it's a whole new idea, which is what they did with, putting the different caps on stuff in Odyssey, right? Yeah. It was just like one idea, Dinosaur Mario, fuck it, that's amazing, but it's just for one level only. And it's like, it very much feels like that, but in the 2D space of Mario.
And that's what it is. That really is what it is, and that's why I think this is my favorite 2D Mario game since Mario World. And I know that sounds like a huge statement to make, but I was trying to think about what there has been. Like, the new Soup games are good. Like, I like them. I've always enjoyed them. But this is something else. Like, excuse me. There's some really, really smart things they've done that while this is all new, they've also kept. So, I mean, like, you can still shell jump in this. You can still ground pound cancel. Stuff like that. That's like a basis for, like, content creators make. But the thing is, we haven't even touched upon the badges. Like, the badge stuff is...
I've only just touched on the badges, and I don't know too much about it.
The badges almost feel like a direct nod to. I don't know if either of you have ever seen these, but I like I enjoy watching like Mario Maker stuff. And there's a YouTube creator who used to do, it still does now. He's come back again, called Ceave Gaming. That's CEAVE Gaming, and he does a lot of like video essays and stuff. But he also used to do stuff on like the Mario. He did Mario challenges like, can I complete every level going backwards or butt sliding.
Yeah.
And some of the badges in this, which I won't spoil, but some of them feel like almost reaction to that like the stuff people will create from those badges in terms of content creation are so fun and so interesting and so out there that you feel like they've been watching the same videos as us. Do you know what I mean? And like,
which is cool, because like...
it might be a coincidence, but it does also feel like there were meetings where someone said, what if, and before they got to finish a sentence, someone just went, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but what about, yep. Yeah, but what if, yep. Like, every one of them, just chuck it in there. And yeah, again, the only criticism I have of this game is that it's kind of easy. There's one level that took us a bit to get through, but generally speaking, it's not a difficult game to 100%. But I don't mind that, and I don't think that's really the point, if I'm honest with you. I hate to keep saying like Wonder is such a great name for this game, but sometimes you just gotta pick your hand up and go, that is exactly what this is.
Like, just on the difficulty thing, I just think like there are different things that you have played games for. Like we've said this, like what kind of game are you in the mood for playing tonight, right?
Yeah. And
sometimes you're in the mood for pounding your head against a brick wall and a game kicking your ass and all that sort of. Other times you're in the mood for a passive, almost happy experience that you just enjoy the experience of, and both can be equally enjoyable. And actually more preferable depending on the mood you're in. And I don't think all games don't have to be difficult in the same way that there's different genres. And I don't give a shit if I don't die whilst playing this game. Like I genuinely, I don't care if I don't find it a challenge. No. I don't give a shit. Nor will I laud it and go, I got a completed World 1 without losing a life. Well done, Chris. It's fucking Mario. Like it's not, it's like, I just, that does not bother me at all. That for me, that isn't even a negative. And if people are like, I found Mario easy, I'm like, well done.
Yeah.
Now complete Dark Souls blindfolded. Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't. I just wanted to mention it because I know some people do hope for sort of like extra hard stuff in Mario games. But like,
there will be some DLC, Purple Coin Luigi challenge stuff like that will make it hard. I'm almost certain, but it doesn't need to be there at the start. I don't think.
Do you know what? It doesn't, and it is a lengthy game. Like I will say this as well. I was surprised. I don't know. I haven't counted them. I was surprised by quite how many levels there are in this game. There's a lot to it. And when I say 100%ed it took some time. Like I'm not going to say that it took 200 hours, but it took a good amount of time. Like there's a good amount of game here. There's nothing. I could understand people going, "Oh, we know that there's probably going to be another Switch sometime soon, so they're just putting out a 2D Mario game, because we want. Everyone wants Odyssey 2, and this is so far away from that. It's unreal. Like this is not that game. For anyone who thinks that, you're wrong. And look, the one thing I would say is, if you really hate the art style, I'm sorry, you've got no soul. I'm sorry, I can't help you there.
Like I just,
it's
this
just
is it. I'll be
so nice to
honest,
look
right?
at.
I always have the fear, especially I think in the sort of like the new Super Mario Brothers era, where they were good, but they never touched you in a way. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. Like they never, like I wouldn't have ever expected anyone to go within those games. It's the best 2D since Super Mario World. Like it's very, very good, but I don't. So,
No,
so
this
you
is
always
something.
have a bit of the fear when you see a 2D. Like, is it a placeholder? Is it a filler? And like I say, I can't comment.
I can though. I can, and I'm telling you, it's
you
not.
can, and I can see just from 4 levels. If this carries on,
it's very Moorish, like you said about the Wonder Seeds and the way they switched the gameplay up. Is that you just want to go one more level because what's next?
What's the next?
That was
idea?
amazing. So what's next? Because this is still early on. So what the hell are you going to get to if this is where you're starting? Go read the review, watch the video review. It's a difficult choice to choose to do very different games, but what can I tell you? They're both brilliant. Chris, before we get to listener correspondence, you do want to talk about a hard game.
Yeah, I do. So, I've been playing Lords of the Fallen, which is not the 2018. I don't know what year it came out.
Older than that, I think.
2014? I don't know. So, not the original Lords of the Fallen, but also not Lords of the Fallen 2.
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Lords of the Fallen 2023. So, yeah, I want to talk about it. Mick reviewed it. Mick reviewed this game for us on the site. Go read that. He's not here to talk about it.
2014, you said, by the way.
Did I say that?
I think so.
Is that right?
It was spot on.
Yeah.
That was my second guess. Yeah. Because 2018 would have been like, that is far too recent.
Yeah, 2014, spot on. Well done.
Yeah. So this is a Souls-like. If we want to get straight into it, Maso Core, whatever you want to.
No, don't say that. Don't. Just Souls-like.
No, I hate Maso Core.
Yeah, Souls-like.
I will say it's Souls-like, and the reason I will say this is because I'll just say this. This is the game that's made me feel closest to Dark Souls that wasn't made from FromSoft. Okay. And I've played Neo and all those. I've played those games. I've played Lies of P this year, and this is for me, this is the closest I felt like I'm playing a proper Dark Souls game. That's been made by a different developer. I think there's been lots of pretenders to the throne. Lots of companies maybe don't get why everyone likes Dark Souls. It's not just because it's hard, right? That there are other reasons why people like it. And I feel like in the level designs and the enemies and things like that, this is the game that comes closest. I will say before we get too much into it, if you read Mick's review, you'll also mention this. This game has performance issues. This game has issues with lag, some hitboxes, and it also has a camera that, well, with the level design, sometimes ends up inside your neck, which can be quite hard when you're trying to, navigate around the not getting hit in the arse with multiple enemies. But I still love it in spite of that, but I can't pretend they don't exist. So I'm going to probably wax lyrical a little bit, but I have to acknowledge that that side of it does exist, and you do have to wrestle with a bit of that. I hope some of it gets patched, but I think that the thing that I like about it is what I can see from this developer is that they get what they're trying to do. They understand what this game could be, and I think if this game didn't have all of like those problems, which are problems, we could be talking about. Well, I would certainly be talking about this game as a really top example up there. Because it's given me that feeling that FromSoft games give me, but it's almost like if Dark Souls came out now, right? And the reason, like,
can I ask a shitty question? Can I ask a shitty?
There's been a bit of that this year.
I don't mean it to sound shitty, but I don't know how else to make it sound not shitty. The thing you're talking about, like, how if it didn't have these, it could be.
Yeah.
How far in do I need to get a bit of that feeling? Because I'm not feeling this game. That's why.
So I'll talk a little bit about how the gameplay plays in a minute.
Because it's very complicated, by the way. This game.
So I was going to come on to that. So we'll talk about that now.
Like,
this
very
game
fucking complicated.
Does throw a lot of stuff at you at the very start, and it suffers from a similar problem to, I think, all of these games, where the naming conventions make it 10 times worse to understand what each individual thing does.
That's a fair comment.
At least everything's not blood everything like in Bloodborne, but even so, like you do have to think, fucking hell, there's a lot going on. So essentially there's a central mechanic in this game that's different, where there's like 2 separate worlds, if you like. So there's like the normal world and there's the world of Umbral, and you have an umbral lamp.
Can I just give Chris a way of, because he'll know this if I tell him. Basically, do you remember the medium?
Yeah, it's a bit like the medium. It's a bit like that. Yeah.
You die. And well, you don't know. See, he's not always when you die. Go on.
Yeah. So it's a bit like, it is a bit like the medium, where there's like a kind of like a parallel world, if you like, that you can see into. Yeah, it's a bit like that. You can use this lamp to either kind of at any point just sort of peer into the other sort of world, the kind of parallel universe type thing, or you can fully go into it, right? But if you fully go into it, you can't come out of it again until you get to certain points. There's like points that can send you back into the normal world. Okay, so if you go into it, that's fine, and it's like I say, it's like a parallel world. So the enemies that exist in the main world are still there, but there's also extra enemies that are trying to go for your gonads as well, right? So there is a bit of risk to it if you do it. But the way that it works is that alternate world of Umbral might have a path over a gap, for example, that you can't access unless you go into the other world, right? So there's areas you can't explore properly, and so it kind of forces you to do it, and it provides an extra, I guess, layer of like fear, because what's also happening at that point is there's like a timer, and it's quite slow, so it's not like fucking, I've only got 30 seconds in this world before shit's going to kick off, but there's a timer going round, right? And if that timer maxes out, then you're in the shit, because then
the longer you're in there, the worse it gets. That's what the tutorial
and the longer
message
you're in there,
told
the
me.
more enemies that will appear to kind of kill you as well. So it does get progressively worse. And if you get to D-Day, it's like it's annihilation. Like you're meant to die at that point, right? But there is like the way it's designed is that there is these points where you can go back or rest or whatever throughout the level. So it's designed, but like. That's kind of the main sort of difference, I guess, to like a normal Dark Souls game where there's like.
Well, can I interject there and ask a question a little bit?
Yeah.
Because again, very early on, so I don't think that it's particularly fun to go back to basically be able to pull a switch to make a bridge. You're going into the past, so to speak. I don't know if it's the past, but it feels like I'm going to the past to create a path forward, which I can. So you go into the old world to get to an inaccessible path, to come out the other side to come back into the new world, right? And I get that, and that's fine. What I wasn't too gone on is like there are sort of story elements going on here where like you can hold your torch up and you'll see like a woman, she's like that, and it's just her sort of spectral form. So you have to go into that world then to see that bit of the story.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't give two shits about this, and now I'm in the dark zone. And
so all of that story stuff is optional. So basically, like you get, he's right. There's like these echo things that you can then
echoes
see,
is a good
right?
way of putting it. Yeah.
And that might not even be their name, but it's that kind of thing. And you if you go into the world and you kind of investigate that, you do a move on it, it kind of releases this like story beat from the past, and they're quite generic, right? It's like, I was being chased by this thing, or I was fighting this enemy or something. They're not like, it's not like a cutscene. It's like it's like a few sort of voice notes, but like they're entirely optional, because what you get for them is like a currency that you can spend, right? So if you choose not to do it, and there are other ways of getting that currency as well, so like you don't have to keep doing it, but it's like a thing to do if you want to. But yeah, like every time I go into like Umbral, which is like the dark world, if you like, it's a choice that I'm making, because I'm like, it is going to make my life a little bit harder. And do I know if I'm near a place that I can get back out quite safely if I want to? So it's always like, it might be something I go back to later sometimes when I pass them, unless I know I can get out quickly. So I often do it that way, where if I see it, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go in, because I don't know if I can get out. And I don't want to. There's been a couple of times where I've been running away from the thing that chases you, going, shit, I need to find a way out, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
What I will say as well is the thing that I've learned when I've been playing is that you don't actually have to always go into the world to do the things you're talking about bridges and things like that. Right. You can actually just like hold your lamp up, and it will like create the bridge in front of you, and you can just walk over it. You don't have to like go in.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm talking more about the ones where you do have to. I mean,
yeah, there are certain things.
There are other bits like that torch. Like there are certain enemies that what was the description? Like the Umbral world is fused to them or something.
So
and they're
basically
stronger?
there are certain enemies that that are either either indestructible or heal themselves
until
over
you
time.
basically lift up your torch and sort of suck the spectral form
suck
off.
a soul thing out of them, and then they become vulnerable to damage.
That's what bothers me,
them
and that's what's mostly bothering me about this game. Is it feels like Gank the game. It feels like non-stop like enemy spam almost. Like I've not seen a game that does this. It hates you. Like
so let's talk about
you've
that.
Got to try and suck this sort of spectral enemy off, but there's 2 or 3 more enemies. Two of them
sucking them off.
Well, that's what you are literally
sucking them out,
Luigi's,
it out, baby.
You are Luigi's Mansioning the ghost form.
Yes,
off them,
you are essentially. Yeah.
So you can attack. These are just grunt enemies, by the way. They're not bosses. And in the meantime, there's a fire dude up there, and the enemy play. This game's been patched more than I can remember a game being patched. And a lot of it's been balancing, and I am like, what game were you wanting to make? Because you keep changing the balance, I accept that, but like this is a lot of balance changes.
There's a few things you've brought up there. So firstly, like whenever I play a kind of from soft type game, right, Massacre, whatever you want to call it, there tends to be 2 different ways that they kind of set out from a difficulty point of view, and Lies of P, for example, was fairly straightforward and sensible with grunt enemies, and then the bosses are up here. That's kind of how it does it. And then you do a boss and you go, it's fairly passive now, quite straightforward until I get to another mini boss or boss. And whereas what Lords of the Fallen does is it's gone, okay, if the challenge of getting to a boss is actually going to be quite high, which actually is quite similar to Dark Souls if you think about it, but actually the boss difficulty isn't actually as hard, I would argue, as something like Lies of P. The bosses are actually not too bad, and what it gives you to battle them is actually there's quite a lot, but getting to them is more of a struggle. So it depends what you want, because some people are like, I'm all in it for the bosses, and therefore they might gravitate to something like a Lies of P. I actually prefer the sort of Lords of the Fallen type thing, which is a bit, for me, is similar to Dark Souls, where actually like you get to a bonfire and you're like, fucking hell. Like I remember when I first played Dark Souls, and I think Dark Souls 2, but less so games since then. Certainly not Elden Ring, where the graces were like 5 meters apart. But like used to be getting to a bonfire felt like a fucking achievement. Like, oh my god, I can see the bonfire. Amazing. Like I've got through that.
Do you
bit.
not think that's the case in Lies of P then? Because I think they let into mini bosses as well. Okay.
No, I certainly feel like Lies of P is a lot more like when you're outside of the mini bosses and bosses, and a couple of those like police helmet enemies, right? But generally speaking, the day-to-day enemies fairly straightforward.
I think I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think where we perhaps differ is that like I also quite liked the infrastructure and environments I was in Lies of P, and it let me feel like I could look around a little bit, whereas I find Lords of the Fallen to be an incredibly oppressive game from the get-go. It is a dark game, which is weird to say when you're talking about in comparison to a game where like Pinocchio style robots have taken over the world. Like, you know, I just find Lords of the Fallen very oppressive, like very oppressive and very like it hates me. It hates me.
Yeah, no, I do think I got to a certain point. There's a certain point where I got to, and I was like, Jesus Christ, this is hard. And once I got past that,
in Lords of the Fallen,
yeah, okay. I was like, actually, it's like I'm having a lot more fun. Like there was a point where I stopped playing it and went to actually finish Final Fantasy 16, and I've come back to it, and I'm like, actually, I'm all in for this now. So I don't know. You might still not like it.
I think it's a bad game, I should say. I'm a little, like I say, I'm a bit concerned that I'm going to wake up, play the game tomorrow, and they've patched the balance to be like I don't know what I'm playing at the moment.
The patches thing, we haven't talked about that.
It's fucking crazy.
I was speaking to Mick about this because he was closer to it than I was. There's been a lot of patches.
He told me they've had to disable crossplay because basically they can't keep up with the patching on console compared to the PC version.
Yes,
that's insane.
It almost, yes, that is because me and Mick went to play crossplay the other day, and we couldn't, and we're like, why? And it looked, and it's because, like you say, the PC console thing is out of sync.
Yeah, the process of patching a console game is different to that on a PC submission process, blah blah blah. But that's a problem.
It almost, I don't know for this for truth because I'm not involved in the patching process, but it does feel like to me they're just, for some reason, overly concerned that certain bosses and things are too easy or too hard.
No, they have said that. They've said that in pre-release communications when it was in review. They literally have said that we have listened to your feedback, and it's like, whose feedback?
I don't care about
whose feedback are you listening to? Make the game you want to make.
Yeah, this is what I believe. I think like just whatever difficulty you've made a certain boss, just fucking own it, and that's it. And don't worry that
there are
YouTuber
egregious
Z
examples.
has said,
There are.
I found that too easy or hard. Like just whatever. I don't think a game needs to worry too much about that. And I think, you know, I don't care. Like it shouldn't be being patched that much.
If you were patching your game so often that you cannot play with people, because of the incompatibility of the game, you've gone a bit too far.
Yeah, I agree. What I will say is the multiplayer is really good.
It's the multiplayer that made me go right, because I've got. I don't think I can mention them, but there are other games I want to play. But you and Mick talking about the multiplayer to me is maybe go, no, I need to play this. Otherwise, it would have been way down the line. And to be honest with you, the patching might not have been an issue.
I think the multiplayer is the best I've seen from this style of game. It's what we've been crying out for.
Yeah.
Like why FromSoft are incredibly guilty at making multiplayer so obtuse and so forced and on off and really like
they make multiplayer feel like it's a concession to people who are whinging.
Yeah, but it's like because the game has to be a certain way, and it's like, well, actually, when me and you were just playing Elden Ring together, it was like, right, I'll log, it's kicked me out because I played a boss, right? I'll join in. I'm going to be at this grace, going to put my sign down here. It's just extra steps, right? You don't need it. It's just for the sake of it being a FromSoft game. In this, like, you join to a player. It is only max 2 players. That's one, I guess, restriction. But like, if I join your world, I can literally stick with you for our entire session. So if I die,
you mean like a multiplayer game?
Like a multiplayer game. But if I die, then I just becomes this little blue shadow thing that you could just click on and revive me. And
what happens if you die in the? Because what we did skip across a bit is if you die in this, because this has caught me out actually. Earlier on, I was texting you as I was playing it, and I died, and I put the controller down. I was like, oh no, shit! You get a second life.
Yeah, it's because
you then drop into this Umbral world.
Yeah,
and I totally kept forgetting, so I put the controller down. And then I was dead before I knew it. So what happens if you're in the main thing and someone dies?
Yeah.
What?
So if I'm so it's your world. If
and
I die,
let's say we're in the light world. The nice one.
So it's the same for both. But if I die in your world, in whichever side, then I just become this little shadow that you just come up to me and go revive, and I revive, and I'm back. No cost or anything. Just that's it. If you die and you're the host and you die, then we just go back to the nearest bonfire together. I come with you and we're just back at the bonfire together and we go again. Right? If you warp somewhere,
seems so simple.
If you fast travel somewhere, I just come with you. Like you want to go back to the main hub, I'll just come with you and I'm just following you.
Sounds so simple and
honestly, it's what it should be. It shouldn't be.
That's what I mean.
Oh well, technically, in this type of world, it's like,
I can't believe it's 2023 and we're talking about this like it's a.
And so I said to you, it's slightly better than Remnant. It is because I don't have to. You don't have to go back to a crystal to revive me. I'm literally right where you were.
Revive you when you fall.
You just kill the enemies that were causing us trouble and then revive me and I'm back. Honestly,
I'll give it another go with that in mind. I will give it another go with that in mind because I do think a lot of those games I find fun that way.
And I will say, it's a lot easier in multiplayer.
Well, then I definitely will give it a go.
That, we could
because I don't know if I chose a bad starting class or something, but every grunt enemy's like 5 hits before they drop, and it's like bloody hell.
It is. The grunt enemies are powerful, and me and Mick were talking about this. It almost feels like the grunt enemies are still powerful later on. You just hit harder, so it's almost like
makes sense.
It's just,
but also I don't know. I found like I got to the first proper. God, what are they called? They're not bonfires. Vestige.
Yeah.
I got to the first proper one of them, having killed everything on my way to it. I didn't have enough to level up, and do you know what? Do you know what left me wondering?
Yeah.
Would I have before you patched this?
So I had that experience. Changes? So I had that experience, and I was like, "Fucking hell, it's hard to level up."
That seems like a.
That is not. In fact, I'm now the other way going. It's really easy to level up. In this game.
Because I played that and I was like, "This seems bad." If I'm killing everything and I'm having to grind for one level.
Yeah, normally in it again, maybe because we've been conditioned from.
No, I do think
normally
that's
you
good.
get to that and you're like,
design.
I've got enough to level up, so I will. Whereas I didn't either, and I was like, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, but do you know what I'm saying? What I'm asking is, I wonder if they fucked that up somehow by talking about all these patches to all these changes from later on in the game. I wonder if they've affected the early game. And someone like me is going, this is bloody hard.
Certainly my experience was that when I got to that first one, and it lets you level up, I didn't have enough to. So yeah, I was the same.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But Yeah, I would say try it with me. If you hate it
Yes,
after
no, I
that,
will.
then
It's just not
it's
for me. Yeah, I certainly can see it's not a bad game if that makes sense. It's just we are now in that era of like the Souls style games. There are multiple branches. You know, you can go towards a Bloodborne game. You can go towards Sekiro and go all in on parry. And there are now
there are
branches of it. So, yeah. Well, maybe next week we can talk about if we get a time. But I guess other than that, let's move on to
Chris Hyde. Listen to correspondence. It's time. It's time. Chris Hyde. Okie dokie then. So, as per usual, Mick sent in questions for each of us individually. So, Adam, I'll do yours first. Start off with a banger. Is Mario Wonder as good as Odyssey? I presume he means Mario Odyssey and not like Assassin's Creed Odyssey or something.
Lost Odyssey. Maybe he means Lost Odyssey.
Yeah,
That's a tough question. That's a great game. As good as. He's not asking. Is it better than? Is Mario Wonder as? I think it's too early, and I don't. It's apples and oranges. They're both fruits, but they're two different types, man.
Yeah, and I feel like from what I've played, they've taken inspiration from Odyssey and put it in Wonder, and that's a good thing.
I think Odyssey's the better game. Odyssey, I gave a 10 out of 10 to, but like that's because the score doesn't go any higher than the 10s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, Odyssey is probably an all-timer for me at this point. Like I just like to play through that game once a year because it's just. Maybe Wonder will be that game. Ask me again next year.
Remains to be seen if Wonder will be Game of the Year 2023 like Odyssey was in 2017.
That's true, yeah. So is it as good? It's damn close, but it's a very different thing. A 2D Mario and a 3D Mario. Because the thing is as well, 2D Marios, you always feel like they should just be good. They should be good. They've done this enough. Whereas 3D Marios, not everyone gets 3D platformers right.
No.
So, is it as good? It's damn close, but it's different.
Do you think there'll be DLC? Again, I assume for Mario Wonder and not just for any game ever.
I don't know. Really, I haven't really thought about it.
I think there'll be a difficulty thing, like we said. I think
maybe I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to do DLC, and I don't. But they're trying to think what games. What can you think of a Nintendo Switch game they haven't done DLC from? The only one I can think of is Tears of the Kingdom. Pikmin 4 is not old enough. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure they've said they aren't doing Tears of the Kingdom DLC. Yeah, I'm sure I've read that somewhere. Pikmin 4, they haven't announced it, but it could do. Splatoon, that got DLC. Mario Kart got DLC. I guess they don't tend to do Kirby DLC. I don't think they. Listen, if it sells enough, then why wouldn't they? But I don't immediately finish it and go, I wonder what the DLC. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't think so, personally.
Okay. How was the online?
Surprisingly good. Yeah, like I thought it would be a bit of an afterthought. Surprisingly good. It's kind of cool.
This online is you're almost like you go through them, don't you? It's not.
Well, this is the thing. I didn't mention this during the main chat, but like, they have removed collision from
that's what
the multiplayer generally.
That would have been a more professional podcast way of saying
but I mean, even if you're playing in the same room as someone, the collision that you can jump on a Yoshi's back still.
Yeah.
But like if Mario and Luigi play and they don't knock each other over the place all the time, which makes it a better. I don't think co-op Mario is the way to play Mario. I think they've tried.
I think we proved that with Mario Mondays, didn't we?
But I think they keep trying, and I think they have to keep trying because it's modern. But like, I don't think that's how I want to play Mario games.
I always think it's one of those, for a family to play together or something. I wouldn't mind playing it with my daughter or something. But like, I'm not going to sit there and play it with a mate.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No. But how's the online? Pretty cool, actually. I genuinely think it's quite cool. You can leave like a little standee, like a little cutout of you of whatever character you want to. Just you press hold down and you press X.
I did that by mistake.
Yeah. And what that means is when someone else passes through that, like they can, it helps them. Like if they die, they become a ghost, and if they're near your standee and they go through it, they can come back to life. But also, you do actually just. It's really weird. Like I don't know how. It's like a bit of like an MMO instance. I was playing online for the review process, and someone I didn't know. I just saw their name. Can't remember what it is now. I did capture it, but I haven't got that to hand. I was just playing this level with them, and I finished the level, and I was like, that's cool. They actually brought me back to life. I did die, because they pass through you when you're a ghost. You've got like a timer to do it. And I went to do the next level. Same person was there, so it was like they'd instanced into my instance, so to speak. We were playing the game at the same time, and it was like we didn't have to do anything together. We could have completely ignored each other. It's not throwaway. It's quite cool. It's quite cool online. Yeah, it's really good.
Cool. Will you playing Diablo 4 on Steam Deck?
I'd love to. I genuinely wish this had been like a Steam game from day one, and I would have gone for it on PC, and I would have been on the deck with that game because it's a perfect game to sit down on the handheld, I think. But I'm not going to go and buy it when I have it on PS5. So if someone buys it for me, no, I'm not going to play. I ain't got time.
Okay, and then finally, food and drink question. Going to try the pumpkin spice pods. I saw they make them for Virtuo.
Well, if someone wants to buy them for me, it's not top of. I haven't got any money at the moment. We've been hit by a few like large bills, and it's not top of the list in terms of
I've
things.
Never
right
really
now.
Gotten into like pumpkin spice stuff. Like
I like
a big American
them, but
thing, isn't it? About this time.
Yeah,
of year,
it's not my favourite. Like there was I'm not big on flavoured coffee like that. If I'm honest with you, I think it always tastes a bit chemical and weird.
I always find they smell nice,
yes,
and then they taste weird. I
like a latte, like a hazelnut latte or something like that.
Yeah.
But I what's Chris reaching for? Is this going to be a bar? It's not what I think it is.
I wouldn't drink
it's
that.
A pumpkin chai candle.
Okay, I could get.
That's what I mean. Smell wise, I think it's
lovely,
great.
yeah.
But like, I always find that whenever I've had like flavored coffee beans or whatever, and I smell them and go, they smell amazing. And then
What's that company that specialises in like flavoured coffee? Oh god,
Beanies.
Yes, I remember being like seeing that like that's amazing, and I bought a load of them, and I was like,
20
these
of
are
them.
fucking horrible.
I think some of them are rank, and they smell. lovely.
Properly rank.
Yeah.
Some of them are.
They smell lovely, and you get a coffee, and you're like, I wish I had normal flavoured coffee.
If you're gonna go flavoured stuff like that, I think keep that to your hot chocolate. I'm a big latte fan. I like a hazelnut latte or gingerbread latte, but that's about as far as I go. There was a popcorn latte at Costa recently, and that was damn good. Yeah. So, am I going to try it? Nah, probably not. Your questions next, aren't they? Sorry, Chris H. No. What's your favourite mustard?
I don't have a favourite mustard. I avoided the mustard chat in the Discord because I figured I'd get like lambasted. I'm not very big on mustards, and I know maybe like you said, it's like I'm probably doing it wrong.
But is he not just asking like English or French, or is he asking for a brand?
I mean, I don't have a lot of mustard. The only time I'd ever really have mustard is if I'm making like a sauce and I put the mustard in the sauce. Like I wouldn't eat mustard with like beef.
So what about a hot dog? Hot dog in a bun.
So if I was having a hot dog, I'd probably just have ketchup on it. We don't have any of that French's stuff in the house, like the brand, not the nationality. To be really clear before I get cancelled, French's is the brand, right? The yellow bottle. That's right. I've not just made that up and got myself in hot water.
I think so.
Yeah. So like we don't have that either. I just have ketchup and
French mustard. You could have just said we don't have any French mustard in the house.
French or French's. Yeah.
But you
don't have either.
Chris,
the only mustard I think we do have is the English
Coleman's
mustard.
English mustard.
That would be like for a cheese sauce or something.
I mustard is a thing. It's an acquired taste, I concede, but like it's something I came to very late in life, and like I would. I had hot dogs with ketchup and mustard on today for lunch. God damn, that mustard's good. I do like it. I don't know how I would love to go back to my past self and be like, why don't you like this? You fucking idiot.
The thing is, right, if I'm this is a very split. If I managed to acquire a hot dog that had ketchup and mustard on it, I would still eat it because it's that kind of French's mustard is quite tame, isn't it? It's not very it's not like English or French mustard type spice, is it? So I would eat it, but if I had to choose, I'd be like, just have ketchup and onions or something. That's
okay.
Before the vulture starts.
French's mustard is yeah. No, fine, right. Will you be playing Football Manager?
I'd love to, but no, it would be a time sink, and it would mean I wouldn't play Mario Wonder or Spider-Man 2 or anything else. I can't get in that. I'm already behind. I can't get on that train now. Christ, I'd never.
Well, no, there's a new one coming soon. There.
That's what I mean. I can't get onto that train.
Oh, right.
That's what I mean. Otherwise, I'd have no time.
Sorry, Chris. Looks like you're.
What's that? Oh shit! Yeah, sorry if that was Adam's way. If this question was Adam's
No,
way,
it wasn't. It wasn't. But at least I know now. At least I know now. My kids have both gotten into those games.
Dude, yeah, just delegate.
So maybe they could. Yeah, maybe they can give Chris White a break this year.
Chris has got to play Sea
Go
of Stars.
for it,
So,
please go for it.
He has got to play Sea of
To
Stars.
be fair, Sea of Stars and Baldur's Gate are the only 2 games I'm playing for fun now for the rest of the year.
Well, that's the question.
Oh, Chris,
that's
well
the question. That's
played.
brilliant. Chris Hyde, another question. What are you playing for fun and not work these days?
So at the moment, it's Lords of the Fallen, so I have no need to play that. I'm not doing any content for it. Fuck the site. That's just for me. And I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I don't think it's going to be...
Just to be clear, you could be playing Pikmin 4.
I could be playing Pikmin 4.
But you're choosing to play Lords of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to be absolutely 100% clear about that.
Yeah.
Because when we get to 2023's Game of the Year, and I'm the only one who's played Pikmin 4, and I could look to you and go...
played the demo.
Cheers, Chris. The game series that you love more than anyone, and you spent time... Yeah, it's fine. I've seen people say, this is Mick speaking, by the way, not me, that Total War Pharaoh is good, but doesn't feel mainline. Do you agree?
Not really.
Fair
I did see a few of this kind of comment come up because it felt like a... oh god, what's the sub brand called? The Saga series, the Total War Sagas, like Troy. Yeah. I can kind of get it from a sense that like the map, like because it's Egypt and not say the whole of fucking China, is quite small, and like the way the geography works, there's a Nile through the middle, and I forget the name of the sea, but the bit that separates Africa from Saudi Arabia, I don't know geography that well, so it's quite narrow, the map, and I think in that sense it feels a little bit small. But like, I mean, in my review I talk a lot about all the stuff they've added to like bolster the campaign and stuff, and it feels like there's a lot of content there and a lot of consideration to make it different. So I certainly didn't find it, because I think people view like the Saga series like a smaller, like almost like intro series to Total War.
Well, what's the main series then? Total War Warhammer?
No, so there's Total War. This is my understanding anyway. It's Total War, and then the Total War Saga games I think are considered like not the mainline games.
So where does Warhammer come into it?
So there's Total War Warhammer as well. Like that, I think that's just a different universe of Total War. So it's like, I think I even said in the review, I don't think Total War Pharaoh is the right game to start with. If you're going to start Total War, don't do Total War Pharaoh. There's a lot going on, even for a Total War game.
If you're going to start with the Total War series, what you should do is play Super Mario Bros. Wonder.
yeah.
And that's not... No, I'm joking. They're good games. They're just not for me.
Not for you. So I saw a few people saying that. I don't agree. I think I feel like it's a mainline game, and I feel like it's a complicated mainline game. The only thing
is this one of those social media things where people have found, the only thing we can complain about is it doesn't feel mainline this time. Like, is it?
Maybe I could see
the only
thing
like
I felt like
thing.
is the map's a bit small, but I didn't. Whatever. I didn't.
I mean, it's mainline if they say it's mainline, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Like,
I
don't know.
If I felt that, I would have said so in the review, and I didn't. So there you go.
So there, and back to you.
Chris. So there, go read the review, please. Love me. Yeah. Chris White, your questions. Does Hot Wheels 2 do enough different from the first game to warrant a day one purchase?
I wouldn't say it's a day one purchase, but what I would say, if you fancy playing the first one and the new one's out, 100% get the new one. I think it's refined a lot of the controls. It's added a few gameplay features to it, but I just find the racing really satisfying.
It's great fun.
And some like arcade races don't get that right. We saw it with Disney Speedstorm. I think that was it was average at best. Whereas this, it's just so responsive. And I think the drifting, which a lot of games, I think the only game that's ever really got it right in an arcade is Mario Kart. It's the perfect.
Just to be clear, Chris hasn't or has forgotten about Crash Team Racing, so his views therefore do not represent the entire community. I don't want to be shot for that one.
Hang on, I've forgotten about Night. I forgot I had.
Okay, because people always go, I don't think that game's as good as Mario Kart, but people talk about it like it's the best game ever made.
No, it's like when people say Diddy Kong Racing's better than Mario Kart. It fucking isn't.
No, Mario Kart is the ultimate, but that one's good.
Yourself.
But it's still.
I mean, Christ, people were saying earlier on fucking Discord that Ragnarok doesn't have any good story beats. So I was like,
let's not. Sorry, carry on. Chris didn't know that.
Who said?
Well done, Chris.
That's not even the worst thing someone said about you on Discord today. So I'd go in.
Is it a day one purchase?
Day.
I'm gonna fucking if it's off. Anyway, right. So
it's not.
Okay, cool. Well, then I don't mind as much. So Hot Wheels 2 is a quality game that if you've ever considered it, just get it because it's like what a modern day Micro Machine should be.
That's great fun, isn't it? Like the first time I took control of a race and that, I was like, this is bloody great.
And like, there's so many different like events like that makes use of everything you learn. And like, if you love collecting the toy, like the Hot Wheel vehicles, like there's so many. It's just really good fun, and there's a lot of content in it, really, for what you get. And then you've got the online on top of that when that's available to everybody. But even in like local split screen, it's great. Like it's just a really strong game. So I would say probably it does enough for people to want to get it. But for those that are completely new, get this one because it is great. It's a great racer, great arcade racer.
Okay, he then follows up with, do you know if there's any DLC worth getting now? He said for Hot Wheels Unleashed, they had a cheap Game of the Year upgrade later on that he bought.
Honestly, I don't know what DLC is available for it now.
I think we got the code was for the what would you call it? Like the Ultimate Edition, wasn't it, or something? Yeah. So I want to say it might have been, but I can't remember actually.
I wouldn't know what. I'm not a massive. I don't know a lot about Hot Wheels toys now to know.
Really?
Yeah, surprisingly.
I thought you were like an expert, like I am with Star Wars.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, but no, just get the game. Just get the game,
toggle.
Play it, and then see how you. Yeah,
it's a really fun game, man. Like it's. There's a couple of, I don't know if you feel this, as you've covered a lot of them as well and played a lot of games recently. It's a game where you sort of go, why have you released it now? Like, why have you released this now?
It's going to get missed.
This needed
Is it
to come
coming
out.
to Game Pass?
Don't think so.
That's a trick there.
That would be great. That
would
smart.
be perfect.
But maybe it's like Hot Wheels is a big brand, and maybe we're just thinking of it one way, and maybe it actually will do just fine.
Yeah. But of all the races out this year, this is the best, hands down. Until I think of another one, I'm like, oh shit, no, that was
Arcade races. I think I agree.
I was going to say Adam's getting Forza twitches there, but
no, I'm sort of.
I don't know, man.
It's been a fucking year, man.
I enjoyed it a lot. Oh, no.
You forget what came out.
I'm wondering if it's like what other arcade races came out this year. To be honest with you, it's
Disney Speedstorm.
Was that this year? You sure that was this year?
I think so.
Because I would have to see it on our website with a date on it. Well, if you say so, mate, I'll have to just go. Yep.
I'm sure I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, we didn't. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
He's going to check now whilst I'm asking you this question.
No, I'm not, because I remember. I think it came out. Was it not like paid early access, but then free later, like they did with Disney?
Yeah, it was.
But I reviewed it this year.
Disney Dreamlight Valley. It was like that. You paid early access, and then when it came out, and it was a similar model, I think.
Yeah.
And it's out now, I think, properly out. So it's free now, I think, probably.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay, and then last question, Chris, for you. Do you think Adam Copeland DLC is coming for the AEW game?
Not in a million years.
Okay.
So Adam Copeland, for those that don't know who he is, you might not even know who this is, but there's a wrestler in WWE called Edge. And
I know who that is.
Yeah, he's the guitarist for you too.
Yeah. He's now a part of AEW. But the fact that they've not done anything with any of the last wrestlers that have come to it in the recent years, really, it's kind of fallen on its arse. They won't do anything with it that's of any interest from now, I don't think. It's true.
No, it's just the way you said it.
No, I know.
They
haven't put.
He's still angry about Ragnarok.
They've not put enough care and attention into this that 2K have done with WWE, and that ain't going to change. But whatever, it's what it is.
Okay, then we've got some questions from McPoo. So the first one is, as Spidey 2 is out soon, which of the other upcoming superhero games are you most excited to see more of? Wolverine, Iron Man, Black Panther, Captain America and Black Panther game, or Suicide Squad? Lol.
Now
we started talking about this.
Well, I have questions about this because there's a couple here I wasn't aware existed.
I mean, I didn't.
I remember there was a Captain America Black Panther trailer where they just kind of show I think they show his shield with the claw marks or something.
But the Black Panther game is from EA. That one I know.
Iron Man, that is the same, isn't it? That's EA.
I don't know, mate.
I'm fairly sure that. To be fair, the only one I'm excited about is Wolverine because I know the developers are fully behind it.
And not just because of the developers, but like I also look at that list and go that the only real character I really give a shit about to the point where I want to be them is Wolverine from that list.
I have to...
like, to be honest, like, do you know what I mean? Like, fun to play. Like, Hulk, maybe, I'd probably be like, or
I have
Thor.
to stand up
like,
for Suicide Squad because I think people are forgetting how good those Rocksteady games were. And this is Rocksteady games. So I have to go, look, I'm there. I'm day one for that because, like...
Yeah, that's the only other one where I'm like interested. The others,
but I'm more with that. Like, please be good. Please be good because a Rocksteady game of Suicide Squad that is out on par with the Arkham series would be very, phenomenal. Very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I want to say they've delayed it enough times that they've listened to. Well, that actually could be a concern as well because sometimes I do feel like stop listening to too much feedback and make the game you want to make. Like I said earlier, it's Wolverine. Wolverine. It's Wolverine
with a bullet.
It's Wolverine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if they do like anything close to Spider-Man style of game, but with a more mature edge, like, oh god.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I can't add any more. It's Wolverine.
Sorry, I just need to calm down.
Yeah.
And then he also asked the second question, and what's your favourite pub snack? They don't make Brannigan's anymore.
No, they fucking don't.
Sad times.
I would. I whenever I'm looking for a pub snack, if we're talking crisps, it's got to be something chunky. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
Like a thick cut type of crisp.
Really?
Like,
in a pub?
What's that?
In a pub?
Yeah.
Like a McCoy's?
Yeah, like a McCoy's. I'd be disappointed if it was just like a Walker's was available. Like, I'd want something...
Well, I better not answer this question then.
No, I don't mind a Walker's. I'm just saying, if I'm in a pub, I'd like something a bit chunky. Like, if they did slabs, I'd be all over it. Like, do you know what I mean?
They should do slabs every pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that type of thing. Or if like there was like a nice like Tyrrells or something, I'd be like, yeah, that's good.
Pubs are different where you're from by the sounds of it than fucking Tyrrells. And it's a big upmarket, isn't it?
Kettle chips or something. But or like just scampi fries. They're good.
So you're going crisps?
I mean, I like nuts.
Fantastic soundbite. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
That's the name of the podcast. There you go.
That's all I wanted. I just wanted someone to say it. I like nuts. Thank you. No. In all seriousness, dry roasted nuts.
Oh, them. I love a tray
fucking
of nuts.
good with
like,
with a pint.
Like powdery salted like. Oh, fucking delicious.
However, right, I'm going to have to betray my roots slightly and be a bit more honest about this one. And I'm a little ashamed of how upmarket and posh this sounds. But my son has started playing for a football team recently. Okay, a new team in a place I never spent a lot of time in our area. It's quite a commuter capital, but it's also quite well to do. And there is a pub so close to where he trains. So close. And one time I was like, well... At this point, I'm being rude, really, not giving them my business. So I started going in there on a night for training and having just a pint each time I drop them off for training. And then I decided, how about both my wife and I go there for a pint? It's become our thing, right? A couple of weeks back, we went in there, and this pub, it's not what I would call a pub. It's more of like a hotel-style bar. It's more for food. We walked in there, and on the bar, there is a platter. Sausage rolls, £4. Scotch eggs, £3. And these are like homemade. They're not like, and it was like, you know, the rustic, the pastry. I think Claire seemed to think they were quail's eggs, Scotch eggs, and it's the first time I'd ever had a Scotch egg. I'm a convert, my God.
So sorry, you were literally taking the piss because I dared to suggest that Tyrrells might be in a pub.
Sorry.
And you've got artisan sausage rolls.
To the point, right? To the point where they've decided that when we go there this week, we are going to have to ask them if they are being made in-house or from a bakery nearby, because they are so fucking good. And I would happily have a pint and some dry roasted, and that would be me. Also, do you know what? A Walker's cheese and onion would be a great choice. But let me tell you, lads, sitting there with a pint of lager and a plate with an artisan sausage roll or Scotch egg on there, we're talking.
I mean, I'm struggling to think of a situation where a sausage roll doesn't improve it.
But I've never seen it, is what I'm saying. I've never walked into a pub and gone, "Hey up, fucking lad, Stella," and he's gone, "Would you like a sausage roll, sir?" And I've gone, "Oh, rather." And my voice is going to be. It never happened. But like seeing this there, I was like, "Where are the cameras?" Like, there's the proper. So much so, we decided they were so nice. Let's go to the local butchers and see if they do that sort of thing. They didn't. So we went to the other local butchers. Nope.
So you torched the place.
Where are you getting these sausage rolls from, you bastards? And the Scotch eggs weren't even there the second week, which is so... Oh, they were good.
We've got this little... It's like a farm shop, but it's not a... It's like that kind of thing, but it's not attached to a farm or anything. And they do their own sausage rolls. Shop. And it's... No, but they sell like... It's not just like a local
butchers.
Shop. Yeah,
people.
It's like, and they do their own sausage rolls, and it's devastating when you go in and the little thing's empty because you got there late. It's the worst feeling in the world.
Chris, what's your favourite pub snack?
I'll be honest, I don't really go eat anything in pubs. I just try and
get smashed.
Consume the alcohol. Yes.
Again.
But if there's some nuts in a tray, I'll gobble them up.
Yep. What's next, Chris?
So I nearly missed this question, which would have been devastating because I think McPoo also asked which YouTuber do you think you could take on in a boxing match?
I don't know any YouTubers.
I know some YouTubers, but I am, let's be honest, not physically able, shall we say. My muscles are painted on for show. But I reckon, because there are like little kid YouTubers that review like toys and shit, I could batter an 8-year-old. I reckon we'll go with some random 8-year-old YouTuber that's more minted than me. I'd punch him in the face for money. Yeah, let's go with that. I reckon Chris could take some YouTubers though.
The way they have bastardized the sport of boxing is an utter disgrace. And what happened at the weekend only further cements that. It's an absolute joke. All the build-up, it's all bollocks. Like KSI, like he's a nice enough guy. I love watching him. I think he's funny. I do quite watch the Sidemen content quite a bit. I think it's amusing.
Yeah.
Don't be this hard. It's fake. It's bollocks. And you're obviously athletic and you do work out and you do work hard to a point. But that Mac, oh my god.
But is that not more a sad indictment of where boxing's got to, that it needs those kind of cards?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more the money it generates because people pay.
That's what I'm saying. They need.
Yeah.
Boxing needs that more than what did you say his name was, KSI.
And wasn't it something like in the other fight, like the wrestler guy or whatever he was that fought Logan Paul did like 9 punches or something in the entire thing or something like some stat. I was like, I'm glad I didn't watch it. I mean, I don't follow boxing, but
you're making me sad just thinking about this all.
Yeah, that's why I said I'd punch an 8-year-old just to put some brevity back into things.
I don't care. I won't probably beat any of them because they'd beat the shit out of me. In fact, to be like an episode of The Simpsons where Homer becomes a boxer and they just pan him because he's so like heavy, it just wears him out, and then he just pushes them
he's
at the
too
end.
tired. He's like,
yeah.
That's a great Simpsons episode. I've forgotten about that one.
It's a good one.
Adam?
I don't know any of them, mate. So like, I can't...
all of them. You beat all of them.
Yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah. In my prime.
Yeah.
Do I get to take a gun into the boxing match or what? Yeah, I just windmill. I just go windmilling like.
Yeah, just fucking walk towards
again to reference The Simpsons again. It would be like, look, Mr. Pie. If you're just going to stand there, I'm going to go.
yeah.
And but like windmill.
yeah.
No, it's not that. Like you say, there's probably someone, but none. No, I don't know any YouTubers. To be honest with you.
Okay, and then to wrap things up this week, Steve from my Discord says, given the fact it's coming up to spooky season, what was your first horror movie experience and what are your favourite horror movies? I couldn't recall this. Like, I was trying to think what my very first horror movie experience was. And I was like, I don't know exactly, but I'm guessing it's me and my mates watching it when we're like 12 and we shouldn't be watching something like It or The Exorcist or something, around someone's house.
I can remember mine. I'm not sure I want to discuss it. So I'll wait to hear what you two say and then decide.
So I don't know, but I'm going to say it's It round a mate's house when I was like 12 or something like that. But I don't recall exactly if that was the first. But it'd be something like that, some famous one like that.
probably similar, but I remember it was around my mate Stephen Hanson's house, and we watched Scream. But that's the first horror film I watched. But then I was quite a sheltered boy. I grew up in a religious household, so any chance of watching anything at home was like,
Marjorie, that woman's shown shin.
Fucking like that, 100%.
It took me far too long to realise what you just said.
The stories I could tell about things I want to laugh.
What's a glimpse of her ankle? Outrageous.
But hey,
fine. Look, fine. I'll be honest. I think the first one I can honestly remember is Arachnophobia, and I remember being as a kid reading a story or hearing a fact that the way to get over fears is by confronting them.
Ooh. Which I think there is some truth in that, but fuck me.
Yeah, but there's levels that you progress toward, I think, before you, and it didn't help or work. I remember sitting on a kitchen table rather than the sofas with my parents because I didn't want anything to be able to crawl up me from behind. So I was sat on a chair, but the other way round. So there was nothing could be near my back. So
you're straddling the chair.
Yeah, and it didn't work. And I'm not, to be honest, I'm not a big horror guy, and it didn't work. So that's don't do that. Don't do that. And don't let your kids do that, just out of interest. If they say that, hey, that thing I'm terrified of, I want to watch a horror film about it, maybe go, probably not for the best son or daughter.
I probably would have.
No, I know, and same, but, hey, different time. You know? My son wants to grow up, I'm sure my dad was thinking, my boy. My boy wants to become a man.
I don't want to be scared of spiders.
Horrible fucking film.
My favourite ones, because you don't really like them, I know that, Adam.
It's not that I don't like them. I don't know. I don't like being scared. I'm not like an scaredy cat or anything. I just don't like the idea of watching a film that is designed to make me scared. I mean, I like the House of the Dead stuff, and I like Bruce Campbell films quite often, but they're kind of comedy horror, aren't they?
Yeah, the thing is, I like sort of like the camp horror stuff, like the Screams and stuff like that.
They're fine.
And like the like Drag Me to Hell and stuff. They're the kinds of films like I or even like Paranormal Activity, where it's jump scares. They're the ones I like.
They're fine. Blair Witch.
Films like Saw and stuff. Nah, I'm done there because it's all like gory stuff.
I haven't got a problem with the gore. That's not.
I end up feeling a bit weird like after all the gore stuff. So like, I don't mind it, but like certain parts, I'm just like, oh no. But like jump scare stuff, I just think it's like the adrenaline rush and stuff. Fucking thing. I knew it was coming, but when's it coming? Type thing. So it'd probably be those, like I said, like Screams and all that. Remember when there was a wave of like Screams, and I know he did last summer, and like Jeepers Creepers and that shit. Like I'd love watching all that kind of crap. Like it's just like, camp horror.
Fair enough. Any more?
I love few of my favourites. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, love that. Dawn of the Dead, both to be fair. I think the remake was actually really good. But my favourite, I don't know if it is a horror film, but it's a bit more psychological, and that's Midsummer.
I've not seen that, but I was interested by that.
It's incredible. It's incredible for what it is. It's Florence Pugh. She basically goes to this weird kind of culty camp in Scandinavia. Yeah. And it just goes from, you can't really talk about it because it's very like straight away you kind of it's unsettling, very unsettling, but it's very well directed and it's like beautifully shot when it shouldn't be, and there's just a lot going on, but it's excellent. So I'd say that's probably one of my favorites recent years. Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions,
that's it for this week? Play that jingle. Chris Hyde, listener correspondence. It's time. Chris Hyde.
And that's a podcast for this week. Episode 536 is in the books for What's in the book? I don't know what it's for there, but it's just in the books. Thanks to Chris and Chris for being here. If you did enjoy this, you can watch us live, well, sometimes on YouTube. At the moment, we're doing pre-records, but you can catch the podcast there in video form where you'll see footage of the games we're talking about usually. That's youtube.com/GodIsAGeek. You can go to patreon.com/GodIsAGeek to join our community, find our Discord, and, become a part of all things and send us questions in the Discord for the next episode, should you require or want to do that. Thank you for watching, listening, however you choose to. Do rate us on Spotify and on Apple and Google thing and stuff and all the other stuff. I can't remember. There's so many things now.
The social mediums.
There's just so many ways you can subscribe or follow the content. So whichever you choose to do, find us on that one and we'll be on there somewhere. Thanks again to Chris, and we will speak to you next week or next episode or whenever you choose to listen. Bye-bye for now.